Okay, we are live. No one's here yet. Talking to myself, but that's fine. I am like 19 minutes past the time I said I would be here, so that's my own fault. So, hey everybody. Welcome to 5 Fact Friday live show. How are you guys doing? If you're watching this live, if you're watching it recorded, how are you? I am getting over a cold. So if you see me doing one of these, it's because I really can't hear. But hey guys. So last week I did my live show, and you guys know it's like 2 hours. Oh, I should have got chapstick. It's like 2 hours of continuous speaking. Maybe lip gloss will help. I don't think so. So it's like 2 hours of like continuous speaking. I went for like 2.5 hours. Then I rode over to my P.O. box and I called Morgan and we talked shit for like an hour. And I worked an extra day last week and my job is like very talk heavy. And by Saturday morning, I just had no voice and a fever. So I was like, did I just YouTube myself into exhaustion? How's that audio before we start? I have the microphone set up. But let me know how the audio is. Welcome if it's your first time here, if you're catching one for the first time live. I hope one day we all catch it live because I really do like these shows. In my mind, I was like, I'm going to keep today's episode short, but I don't think that's going to happen. So much to talk about, some really exciting stuff. So while we're waiting for everyone to get here, and like, how do you guys hear about the live stream happening? Is it because you follow me on Twitter? Is it because you get a notification? Do you hit the bell in order to get this notification? Does it come up on your phone? Let me know. Getting everybody here, like, when it starts, I think is hard. And I love to, like, jump in. But I do want to, like, wait for everyone to get here. So on my Twitter this morning, I said it would happen around noon. So some of you guys were probably, like, waiting around a little bit. So thank you guys, the notification squad, for getting here early. I just have like no makeup on, and I did push my brows up, but I'm sick, like no way around it. So really exciting stuff today. I want to tell a story. I want to recap on John's birthday. John's surprise birthday was on Wednesday. I've kind of been hinting at it for a little while, but I didn't give you guys true details, just in case it leaked. I've got a meeting with YouTube next week. I want to talk about some music I've been listening to. I want to talk about Instagram TV, VidCon, and then I have some good questions from you guys. I have a question about like YouTube creators and their politics. I'm going to be reading the sidebar, and Susu says, you're my favorite YouTuber. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much. Thanks for hitting up that super chat, which is a great segue. If you see in the sidebar, the like teal, well, it's teal on my end, little chat, you can always add a super chat to the conversation. All the super chats always get posted in the description of the videos for the next week. So thank you so much. And as always, I like to do little giveaways in these shows, maybe like build momentum. And I mean, I know it's all my subscribers who are here. And well, whatever. So last week I sent the original package out. So the first winner has been chosen, and she actually got her package. I saw it on her Instagram. This week, my giveaway is actually going to be a sound grenade. You might remember these. I made this video about like safety and stuff like that. And we talked a little bit about safety and personal safety last week, so I thought I would give away one of these sound grenades. You can see you just pull the tab out of the top and a loud alarm comes out. It says crime deterrent, animal repellent, rescue signal, permitted on airplanes. You can bring this on the Greyhound bus. Different states, if you're from the States, different states have different regulations on that. I took a Greyhound from Chicago to Pennsylvania one time, and we actually pulled off to the side of the road and we all got wanded, like metal detector, and a woman had a taser on the bus and the police took it from her. So this would be something you would be allowed to travel with, personal safety device. This week I'm going to try something new. You can head over to my last video and leave a comment there with the best way to get in contact with you. Asking people to subscribe has actually made a ton of people unsubscribe. I don't know if the trend is related to the shift in content on the channel, but I'm not going to do that this week. So you can just comment on my previous video about my new hair. Comment whatever you want. Not you are butt ugly. Somebody did comment that, named like Jess Geller, you meanie. So don't comment that, but comment whatever you want, and the best way to get a hold of you, and you'll be entered to win a sound grenade. If you personally don't want the American flag, just let me know. So yeah, that is that week's giveaway. Love you guys. Everything has been really cool this week. I really like the format of this show. You guys have been super supportive. Everyone has left like really good, like helpful critiques. Unless your critique was to unsubscribe, because I definitely see you. But I mean, those numbers, whatever. Both of my cats have like the zooms right now where they like run from different rooms, and PB is in here, which is rare. I don't even want to like talk too loud. I don't even think I can. So while we're waiting for the zooms, hi, see ya. While we're waiting for everybody to get here, so I'm drinking green tea right now that I put soy milk in. This is green tea, lemon flavor ginseng. I like buy good tea for my like locker at work, some Tao or Zao tea, and then this is like from Aldi. Tastes like shit. I actually really like it, but I could be better. I really do like green tea though. I have a candle lit. Okay. Keep all those animals off the desk. So while we're waiting for everyone to get here, I just wanted to start with a story, and I wasn't going to tell it. There's like a lot of like little anecdotes in my life that are seemingly ridiculous. Like sometimes I wake up and I can't believe my life, but I was going to leave this. There's just stuff I leave off of YouTube because it's like personal or has a reflection on my personal life, or like reveals where I live in some sort of way, or just like may come off as unpleasant. I do have to get chapstick. Have you seen these crystal EOS? Aren't they wild? The air conditioner just clicked on. Let me know if it's too loud, and I'll close the door. So, I just like some stories that I don't tell, but I'm gonna tell this one anyway, but it does fall into the category of shit I don't usually talk about online. So, it was John's birthday, and like the actual day of his birthday, I set my alarm for like 6 o'clock in the morning so I would wake up before him. For Valentine's Day, I did the same thing and made him breakfast. But this time around, I was like, I'm sure he appreciated the breakfast, but I don't think he wants to wake up at 6 a.m. Like, none of us do. So I woke up at 6 a.m. and just like made him coffee in a container he could take to work. That way he wouldn't have to like get coffee at Wawa before work or anything like that. He would just already have it. And then he could like open his card and everything and just chill. I thought that would be cool. That way like he didn't just kiss me goodbye on his birthday and just leave. So I woke up before him and I went downstairs to make coffee, and I look outside and there was a woman in my backyard. And I got like really scared at first. I was like, because it was like seeing a ghost. But the way she was outside, she was like perched up. So for some reason, like it's early, I thought she was like talking to somebody over my neighbor's fence, the way she was perched, because I just like saw her at a glance. I was like, what the fuck? And she had her like hair wrapped up in a scarf and then like booty shorts on, kind of just like the shit you wear in your house, you know what I mean? Like I could have been wearing the same exact thing. Like the headband I wear around my house is sinful. So I saw her and I was like, what the fuck? But like my immediate reaction wasn't like danger. So I had some like recycled bits that I had on my counter that I hadn't taken out to the recycle bin yet, which I keep in the backyard. So I was like, all right, like let me just make my presence known. Maybe she's like a neighbor of mine, because we share backyards with the houses on the other block, but you never see who those neighbors are. They're not like literally next to you, but you do share a backyard. So at first I was like, I don't know who this woman is. So I took out some recycled stuff and kind of like dropped it in the bin to make some noise. Because if she was my neighbor, I would be like, hey, sorry I'm wearing, I don't know, a moon printed jumper, but how are you? So she didn't react, and I went back inside to like finish making John coffee. Then I made John his lunch, so I was like kind of like all around the kitchen, and I look again and she's in my yard all the way, and we have some like ladders in our backyard. John's a carpenter, and she's looking at the ladders. And then like all at once I'm like, this isn't our neighbor. How did she get back here? Because the only other way you could get back to our backyard would be if you were a neighbor and you had access to the alleyway. So I opened the door immediately, and like I'm not brave, and it's 6 o'clock in the morning, and like the outfits I wear in my house are shameful. But I bust open the door and I'm like, can I help you with something? And she goes, how you doing? And I'm like, good. And then she leaves. So I'm like, who the fuck was this? But the way she was like so dazed, like I marathoned Attack on Titans within like a 2-week span, but the way she was so dazed and like not supposed to be back there and like rummaging around, I was like, this lady's a titan. She's gonna get in. So John came downstairs and I didn't tell him, because I was like, I'll handle this. I'll handle this lady in the backyard. And I live in a city, I live in a row home, so our backyards they're like a stone's toss. They're like very small backyards, basically just for like, you know, a lot of people keep their trash cans back there. John's parents, if you remember any of my videos when I lived with John's parents, they had some like raised flower beds back there and a chair, but like it's not like, you couldn't frolic and play. It's a really small space. So I'm just like, all right, that was pretty weird. So I kind of like do my chores in the kitchen to stay back there. John drinks his coffee, goes to work. Then I just feel guilty, so I call John. And I'm like, hey, like, I don't want to worry you, but like an hour ago there was a lady in the backyard. And she was looking at your ladders. And my next door neighbor has like all crazy security systems, stuff like that, like green lights for like, I don't know, night cam and shit like that. So, he was like, hey, like, I bet it's nothing. Like, he had the same theory. Like, it's probably one of the neighbors from across the yard, like across the alleyway, but we don't know what they look like. he was like, but if you have any feelings about it, talk to our neighbor. Like, you know, she has all the security cameras. So I was like, all right. So I took all of our plants from inside the house and like brought them outside so they could like be in the light, and I watered them all and like put these cool like fertilizing pellets I have in them. They look like this. I hope they work. So I talked to her. She comes out, she starts watering her plants, and I was like, hey, this morning there was a lady in my yard and she was looking over your fence. I thought she was talking to you. I'm starting to feel like maybe she wasn't. And my neighbor was like, yeah, I didn't talk to anybody at 6 o'clock in the morning, you nut. So I was like, all right. Then she had pulled a cinder block over and was standing on it to look into your yard. And she was like, well, the only way she could get back here is if she climbed the fence. So I was like, oh my God. So I described her, and my neighbor's like, yeah, I think I've seen that before. So I went to the end of the alleyway, and someone had ripped the fence. And it's like a chain fence, and it was just like busted open. And I told my neighbor, and she was like, wow, like I was just out there yesterday. So someone must have like busted open our fence that keeps our alleyway safe. So only like the people whose houses are there can access it, you know? Cause most row homes and stuff like that have an alleyway in between all the backyards for like emergency exits and stuff. But they're still locked on each side. Anyway, so it must have been like overnight the lady or whoever had ripped open the fence, and there was a prowler in our backyard. I don't get to use that word a lot, so prowler. So I told my neighbor, and my neighbor had said, yeah, like someone a couple blocks down had just told me that a package got stolen, like out of their fence, like maybe this is a problem. So if you guys have seen any of my like DIY videos, I have this little screwdriver. Okay, people are saying it's lagging. Okay. So with my little screwdriver, I go to the end of the block with a big piece of plywood, and I repair the fence. And so anyway, the moral of the story, and stuff I don't really talk about online, is there was a prowler in my backyard who broke our fence, and then I fixed it. But it was so scary, and I feel so weird telling that story because you like admit that you're vulnerable. But at the same time, like, who fucking tears down the fence? And then 6 o'clock in the morning is like a weird time to be prowling, I guess. But my neighbor got it all on camera anyway, so I'm not like really worried about it. And my neighbor has said that she ordered us cameras, so whatever. So there was a Titan in my yard. So that is our little anecdote to lead in today's show. The other morning, there was a lady in my yard, and I didn't like it. But I really came out of the yard and was like, can I help you? YouTube DIY how to fix a fence. So then when John came home, I was like, by the way, the alleyway fence had been broken into, and I fixed it and booby trapped it. And then John went outside and like re-secured it. But I think he was still impressed by my efforts. So now we have like a true fence back there, which is pretty dope, but still like scary, you know? Like I wish people wouldn't. So I want to talk about John's birthday. A couple of people were like asking me about John's birthday, and I was pretty excited because it's the first party I've ever planned. Other than like the Quicken meetup, it's seriously like the only thing I've ever planned. I had like a Rugrats All Grown Up special sleepover party in like the 4th grade. And like that was it. And then years later, my mom told me that like one of the dads wouldn't let one of the girls sleep over because like my mom was young, whatever. Anyway, so this week I threw a surprise party for John, and it was really cool because like we didn't really celebrate my birthday. Last year for his birthday, him and I were separated, and then for my birthday last year, I hung out with Ryan. So like our birthdays have been in a weird kind of thing. It hasn't been since like we first started dating that we had like a, not even a party, but like John took me to like the Walt Whitman Bridge, and we like went underneath it, and there's a bunch of like tombstones under there. It was really cool. But so we've never really had like a true party. And I was hesitant because I believed that like his friends didn't want to maybe have a party, because they don't really have parties either. Like none of us have really gotten together since Ryan died. And before Ryan died, we didn't really celebrate his birthday either. You know what I mean? So it kind of started with an idea that I was like, we should all get together on a happy note. And I think John's been doing really well, and I think all of his friends are doing really well. So I was trying to think of like where to have it, and there is this place in Philadelphia called Urban Axes. You might remember we went there for Josie's party, so I'm like completely piggybacking off that. But at the same time, John is a carpenter. John has thrown axes before, stuff like that. We keep one in the car. So that started out as an idea, and it's this place where they have these big bullseyes, and I guess it's all like recycled kind of stuff, like lots of mixed materials, chain link fence, exposed beams, like a warehouse space that they turned into like a functioning like area. And the cool thing about this place is I was watching this video, like I'm really into dead malls and like how like the retail apocalypse. This has been something I've been really into the last like couple weeks. You guys told me to start watching Dan Bell, and I have. Sick stuff. So when I was researching dead malls for my like millennials aren't shopping anymore video, I was looking into like what happens when people don't have malls anymore. Like when I lived in Texas, we all hung out at the mall, and even though I was like 20 years old, we still hung out at the mall. And I was like, all right, I gotta remember how this feels with it. So I was looking into it, and I actually interviewed 2 girls, and I'm gonna make a video with that content about like the social aspect of malls. And I watched this video where malls are considered a third space. Like we have our home, we have work, and then third space is where we go to have entertainment, and we go to have leisure, we go to hang out with our friends. And more, the third space has just been like bars and restaurants. But there's not really, like, there's no arcades anymore, you know? There's not going to be any more malls anymore. There's not a ton of places for us to hang out besides like public parks. Or restaurants and bars. So I thought that Urban Axes would be, I thought it's a really cool like counter to the decreasing amount of third spaces for people, for leisure and activity. So with all that in mind, I was like, we have to have it there. That is a unique third space. These people came and they redid this warehouse. It's located in Kensington, so it's kind of a neighborhood that like needs that little bump of like something cool and trendy and something to do with like all the abandoned warehouses and stuff in that area. They just like keep catching on fire. So, hey Ethan, don't jump up here. So, Urban X's, it's in Kensington, and I made a reservation, but when I called, I had to know like exactly how many people were going to be there for the deposit. So, I had like one of his friend's phone numbers, and his one friend like runs this vegan Instagram. It's super cool. It's called like Mainline Vegans. It's really good. And we went to their wedding. You know them. You secondhand know them. So his friend like gave me some phone numbers, and then I was like texting some people, and then was able to contact other people through them. I knew some of his friends' Instagrams, but his friends like aren't about that life. So like some of their Instagrams like aren't even pictures of themselves. They're like of Lisa Simpson and shit. So I couldn't remember like whose Instagram was what, and his friends have like pictures of like barrel fires and shit, like not pictures of their face. So I was like, John. But it was cool. In the end, like I was able to get everybody. Josie had to help me and like pretend she needed a plumber so we could get my plumber's information. I had to call his one friend at his job. His one friend is a barber, so I called the barber shop like I was going to make an appointment, but I was like, hey Carlos, it's Amanda. It's John's birthday. But you know, it was cool. It was like old fashioned. Like how else did you used to invite people to a surprise party? And like almost everybody showed up who like RSVP'd. So that was cool. I put down a deposit for 15 people. And it was just like really, really fun. So the day came, well, like a couple days leading up, like my grandparents took me to cake, like his box cake, so he wouldn't see me get it because we grocery shopped together. And I went to the dollar store to get like a tablecloth and like plates and forks and napkins and stuff for the cake and the pizza, and I got a case of Arizona iced tea because John doesn't drink, but it was a BYOB place. So I started getting ready the night of, and I have Bronco keys, so I like hid the cake and the case of iced tea in the Bronco. And then I started getting ready, and John was like, are we going to veg tonight? It's where I took him for Christmas, and I was like, no. And he's like, okay, where are we going? Like, he really didn't know. So that was cool. Like, all of his friends kept it a secret. I was worried about that. I was worried, like, one of his friends would text and be like, yo, dog, what time is it again tomorrow? But I don't know. It was super fun. But the problem was I told all of his friends to get there a half hour early, and we were still the first people there. We got there at 6:30, and his friends didn't show up until like 7. But since it was on a weekday, I figured like everyone was getting off work. So we got there to check in, and the girl was like, oh, like, are you here for Amanda? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, is it a surprise party? Like, I just want to know. And I was like, yeah, but we're the first ones here. Surprise. But honestly, like, the surprise was still there, you know? So John and I went to, like, our area. If you reserve, like, a party for the axe throwing place, they give you 2 private lanes and 2 instructors. So John and I went to our area. I, like, set up the table with the cake and stuff. And when John's first friend walked in, I looked at John and he was just blushing. It was just, like, perfect. Because he's, like, a stern, like, you don't always know what he's thinking dude. But when I looked and he was blushing, I was like, oh my god, I love it. So the way the axe throwing thing goes is there's 2 bullseyes in each lane, and you get an instructor. And the instructor, it's really cool. The instructor wants you to do a good job. So the instructor stays with you the whole time like a coach. Even in the finale, the coach was still like, you know, watch your posture, Amanda. Like, and if you like hit a bullseye, the coach is still like, nice. So there's 2 lanes, and you get an axe each. You tap axes, and then you each throw. And you can throw with 2 hands, which is how I throw it, like this. Or you can throw with 1. Excuse me. And they have you stand with 1 foot in front of the other, and then you put the axe above your head, and then you follow through with your arms straight at your side. They described it like how Naruto runs, and I was like, I got you loud and clear. So like 15 of his friends came. It was super cool. And then like the shampoo girls came and Heylin came. So Melina got 3rd overall. I got 6th place. John got 3rd place. Right? It was so cool. And then our friend from out of town actually won. And he was like, I don't know how I won. I'm really sorry. It was a lot of fun. So there's this like, it's like caviar app in Philadelphia called GoPuff, and you can order like HDMI cables, you can order batteries, or you can order beer. And Melina had ordered a case of beer for the party, and it took 2 hours for it to get there, and it showed up as we were leaving. So they gave us a refund, let us keep the case of beer, and we just like tailgated at the Bronco. Like everybody came. It was a lot of fun. And then some of John's friends went to leave, and Melina went with them. It was perfect. It was the coolest night ever. So honestly, like if you're ever in Philadelphia or like New Jersey, Delaware, Urban Axes, like not sponsored, was so much fun. We had our like little arena for like 2.5 hours. Like I said, I ordered pizza to the place, and when I called on the phone, they were like, what's your address? And I was like, I'm at that Urban Axes place. And I guess they have like an arrangement with them. They were like, oh, like what color is your wristband, blah blah blah. It was so cool. Like 2 large pizzas came to like $20, so it was so fun. I loved it. I made John like a box cake. His favorite cake is spice cake, and everyone really liked it, even though it was like gnarly. So yeah, sometimes it's just really nice to do something special for somebody. All of his friends like pitched in, like individually. Everyone was like, can I help you pay for this and that? Like it was just like a really good time. Nothing went wrong. His one friend was supposed to come with a big poster board so we could all like write on it, kind of like with the Quicken meetup. Everybody like wrote their screen names and like said what's up on it. But I thought it was like he couldn't come. He like had to go home. But other than that, like, and like even that like really didn't go wrong, you know. So it was a lot of fun. So John's birthday was sick. I really recommend Urban Axes. You can just go as like a pair, and they also have like competitive leagues there. So if you like are really good at it, you can go and just like shoot the shit with the dudes who go there every day. Or you could just go as like a couple. You could go with your bud. It's just like a lot of fun. Once you like, the instructors want you to be good at it, so it's not even like oh, I don't think I'll be good at it. I've never thrown an axe. Like, you see me. You know I'm not good at throwing an axe just by looking at me. And I got 6th place overall. So, like, the instructors do a really good job of telling you, like, what you're doing wrong so you can fix it, which I think is what makes it so. Other than it being BYO, other than it being competitive, but, like, still fun and silly. Like, Melina was, like, cheering me on. It was so sick. So, someone said lumberjack axes for people in Pittsburgh. Yeah, so there's another Urban Axes, I believe, in Texas and in maybe Boston or like Baltimore. The cat's knocked over the hamper. So if you look up like axe throwing places, I think it's becoming more of like a cool trendy thing. I've never thrown darts and like had a great time, but throwing axes is really cool. Melina said like her whole sternum was like burning the next day because she like really fucking went into it. I'm just like, I hope I do a good job, but she's like, I'm gonna fucking kill John on his birthday. Pew. You know. Harrisburg just got an axe throwing place. I'm stoked. It's so fun. Like, I don't want to say even if you go by yourself, but if it's a great thing for like maybe like a first or second date where you don't know what to talk about, or like, I don't know, if you wanted to go with a coworker, because it's just like a competitive kind of thing, but no one has to be good at it. I'm just gonna close the window. The dog is out. Oh, I might open it up in a little bit. Good prep for the zombie apocalypse. Honestly, though, it's like definitely the vibe. It's really cool. Like, in between rounds, they'll like spray down the dart board or like the bullseye with water, so like the axes stick to it better. Like, it's not like a rigged claw machine where they don't want you to win. Like, they really encourage like a positive and competitive atmosphere where everyone has a chance. I'm sorry about the dog. Yeah, my neighbor has a little dog. So, and then for John's birthday, I got him Muzzy. Do you remember Muzzy? It's like, when it's like 90s kids only. It's like a VHS series where it helps you learn a second language. And I think they do it by like putting it over top of a cartoon, and they give you like an English cassette and then a Spanish cassette or like a French cassette. John really wants to learn Spanish because he's like a carpenter. He does like a lot of construction work, and he's somebody who feels really like he really wants to communicate with other people. And I hear him practicing his Spanish all the time, but I think it's just limited to like what he can learn on a job site. So I thought it would be silly. Like, John has a pretty extensive VHS collection that you'll see when I do like my living room. Like, I like redecorated my living room and I incorporated a lot of his VHSs into the decor, because not all of them work anymore. If you know, like the tape, like the physical tape inside of a VHS actually expires. So our VHS, our dark crystal VHS, doesn't work anymore because the tape is expired. So a lot of his tapes don't work anymore, but I thought getting him Muzzy would be fun. So my friends used to call me Muzzy in school, and I don't know why. I can barely speak English. No. So that's what John got for his birthday, but I kind of want to watch it too. I hope he really does watch it, but if not, it came in this like, imagine like a video cassette jacket, like the plastic ones for like, I don't know, Fantasia, like the premium. This came in like a giant one. Yeah, so VHS really do expire. Dark Crystal, I want to say, came out in like 82 or like 86, but like obviously we can go on Amazon Prime and just watch it whenever we want, you know? But John has an original VHS and now it's just decor. John also has like a lot of skateboard VHS, and I think they're starting to deteriorate as well. So it's confusing when you speak more languages. You switch languages in your head while you're thinking about something. I think that's really cool. Like in my life, like my grandparents like never spoke a different language around me. Like my grandmom is Filipino, but like really just like grew up an American lifestyle. I assume like she spoke like Tagalog to her parents, but I was born, like her mother and father had already passed away by the time I was born, so I've never heard like another language spoken in my house. So I've always been like really jealous of that. Did you ever see those mini VHS toys that I think McDonald's used to have? They were so dope. If you can remind me what they were, I'll definitely remember. I'm a Spanish native, and sometimes I know a word in English but not Spanish. That's pretty interesting. like that's all pretty cool to me. I really hope that, like, obviously that Muzzy tape is not going to make John fluent in Spanish. John made of fluid. But I think it'll be, like, cool. I think, like, maybe he likes it. My fam speaks Italian, but my mom was too lazy to teach my brothers and me. I think that's the case for, like, Josie, too. I think Josie knows Italian, and her mom only speaks Italian, but I think Josie and her sisters, like, speak English to her mom. So, that is our segue. That was kind of like my little introduction to make sure everyone got here. I believe everyone who's gonna be here is here. I'll post something on my Instagram, though. Oh, my plumber's in Jamaica. It looks like he's having so much fun. All right, put that down. So, every time I see McDonald's toys or glasses at flea market, it reminds me of you. Thank you. So next week I have a meeting with YouTube. I talked about it a little bit on here. I used to have an assigned YouTube manager. He was a nice lad. I felt weird because what's the video? Sarah, do you like my bathing suit? I remember I had posted that video and I had a meeting with him like later that week, and I remember him like just asking what was new on my channel, and I was like, Sarah's whole titty. That video got demonetized for good, but whatever. So since him, I have not had a YouTube manager. Sorry. And like, your YouTube manager isn't someone like you pay for or gets like a percentage. Like, you can have like a manager, but your YouTube manager is just someone assigned from YouTube. I assume they have like they manage like a couple YouTubers. They mostly just answer questions for you, and all the questions they can answer, the answers are also online already. So you could always like click on YouTube help and get the same answer, but you're getting it from a person, so you can like talk back and forth. Him and I would have video chats, so I could like see him, and he had like a full-on office with like a phone that had like a ton of buttons. You just gonna scratch that up? You know what I mean? So he like emailed me one day and he was like, I'm taking a different direction with my career, so peace. And this will be my new manager person, which is cool because it's just in time for a lot of new features on YouTube to roll out. So I'm hoping she'll help me. I'm going to talk to her about like my declining numbers. Like 2 years ago, my views were really good and my engagement was really good. And now it's not. And I just want to know like if there's anything like a scarlet letter on my channel or anything like that, anything I can resolve. One of you guys said that you follow a YouTuber who had the same problem and completely like 360'd his channel. So your whole titties out, bitch. So I'm hoping like talking to her will help me out with that. Ethan is just whatever. It's like I pull away from YouTube and then come back, and I just would love like some good answers. There's a news website called Polygon, and they said that a lot of YouTubers go through like this burnout phase because YouTube is so, they don't explain a lot of their features, so all of us are like scrambling and really competitive and like fighting for views and shit like that. And it never used to be that way like a couple years ago. And I like hate to sound like Graveyard Girl, but like I don't know, when I like was fresh out of beauty school, like everyone was always excited to like for the next video, and I was always excited, and my engagement was good, and I didn't have as many like hate comments or like stuff like that. And my views were good too. So now I'm like, I don't know what happened with my views, because my videos kind of like all cap out at like 10,000 views, and if you go back even like a couple months, my videos normally like burn out around 20,000. So I'm just thinking like maybe she knows why. So I would love to like find out if I'm doing something wrong. I saw 2 days ago that you have to click on something on your videos to show it to your subscribers. It's in the advanced setting. It says like send your subscribers notifications. And I didn't know that was a button you had to push, you know? I thought people subscribed and then saw your videos, so that might be something I'm doing wrong. So I'd love for someone to just explain to me all the shit I don't know, you know? I think that live streams won't give you new subscribers, but rather keep the old ones. A new subscriber probably won't view something that long. Don't get me wrong, I love your live streams. I think so too. That's why I kind of changed up the giveaway this week, because I don't think this is a place for like new subscribers, but I did want to create like a space to interact with like people who are already here. And 5 Fact Friday, you know, used to be one of my favorite series, and I've had a lot of feelings about being so personal online and being so open online, and also giving myself more limits, like not making as much content as I used to. So I thought this was a great middle ground for that, where I could talk about news and events and some personal stuff, as well as interact with you guys. So, I know that like I lose a lot of subscribers every time I do a live show, and some of that might be with like YouTube's notifications. Like someone might get a notification that I'm live and people are like, I'm sick of this bitch, unsubscribe. But I don't know. To be honest, I don't think you're doing anything wrong. I think it's largely due to the algorithm. But I'm not really one to interact with internet people. Is it helpful when we comment on your videos? So I think the most helpful thing is engagement. So even a thumbs up or even a thumbs down is still engagement, I've heard. And then comments are engagement. I think like people have told me a couple times, like if you're being harassed online, like turn off your comments. But I think engagement is like one of the backbones of YouTube, so I never want to suffocate it. That's why these live shows are really dope, because it is so much engagement. So yeah, I mean, you can always engage with a video. I'll see first time commenters all the time who are like, I'd never usually comment, but blah blah blah. So that's always so cool. I try to like every video from YouTubers that I back. I think that that's cool. Like I used to like videos so I could archive them and be like, I like this, I'm gonna come back to it. But the way that YouTube kind of creates this system, it's no longer like a way to archive videos. You kind of have to like a video in order for that YouTuber to like sink or swim. So now I just use my YouTube history button if I want to like revisit a video I liked. So it says, okay, should be back. I like want a hairstyle where you're not like, that bitch has the flu, but do you recognize the names that comment frequently? I do. I like think that I do. There's definitely names I always recognize, and maybe you recognize. Like Dana comments on everything, and she's always like a great friend to you if you ever need someone to talk to. So it's always like, there are people who always comment and just know that like, I just know that like they're friends to you and they're friends to me. Do you ever feel like you've outgrown going to shows? I saw Me Without You in Tiger's Jaw last night and I felt somewhat out of place. Yeah, I mean, I saw Me Without You a couple months ago, and it used to be there wasn't a single Me Without You Pennsylvania show that I would miss, so I went to every single one. And then when I missed the first one, I just kind of stopped going. It's definitely true. Like, when I go to shows, I'm like terrified of running into someone I don't want to see. And the internet can make that easier or harder. And being online can make that harder. Like, I don't know. I feel like if you're a hoe on Instagram and then you go to a show, it's like all eyes on you, but no one's talking to you. So, and then I feel that way too. So sometimes it's like that. I know, because the scene in Philly is pretty small and localized. So it's like the older you are, the longer you're out there, the more people you might know. And that like happens at the salon too. Like someone will be like, oh, do you know her? Her boyfriend was the person who hooked up with my roommate's sister. And I'm like, don't tell me. Don't tell me. I don't want to know. And I feel like shows can be that way. I go to shows by myself. Sometimes if they're the shows I really need to go to, like I went on Joanna Newsom tour almost by myself, but I guess that's different. Okay. People are saying that it's back. So quickly, I wanted to talk about New York. So John and I went to New York over the weekend, and it was our first time ever going to New York together. Oh no, it says the stream health is yellow. I don't know what to do. All right, we'll get through. Okay. So we went to New York together for the first time. We drove there, which was like a little nerve-wracking because we drove there in the Bronco, and I've only ever taken the bus there. So I realized Super Chat isn't available in my region. That might be true. I did a Super Chat and you didn't even notice. I'm sorry. So the way this is set up, it's two different windows. It's the window that I stream from. So you have to have like a program that allows you to stream, and then I have the YouTube window open, and they're different windows. So I'm sorry about that. That's why I say like I'm popping into the chat. Courtney Mooney, thanks for being yourself. You're super rad. Thank you so much. Sorry, I'm just trying to scroll in here. Sorry about that. With all the technical difficulties for a second there, it was a little crazy. So I'm sorry. So we went to New York together for the first time. We drove there. That was kind of crazy. And we drove into Brooklyn, which means we didn't have to go in a tunnel. If you've ever been to New York, if you've gone to Manhattan, you have to go under the water to get there. So we took a bridge, and the first bridge cost $15 to cross, and we were only on it for like 2 minutes. And then I think the turnpike cost $7, and then there was another bridge that cost $10. So I was like, what the fuck? They got us. But it was super cool. We found a parking spot in Brooklyn. We parked by Rose Tattoo. Mudguts Gallery. So the reason we went to New York was to check out Mudguts, and the gallery was closed because they were having an art installation put in. And I didn't know that, and I'm not on social media as much anymore, so I just looked up their hours. It said they had Sunday hours, and then I got there and they were closed. But it was cool. We went to Rose Tattoo. I saw Akira, and they have like a new like receptionist who I actually know from when I went to Richmond like years ago. He hung out with us the whole time, so familiar face. He's super nice. If you go to Rose Tattoo, he's like, I don't know, like one of the first vegans I ever met. So small world. Super cool. After that, we went to another gallery. Then we went to get ice cream. So we went to Espo's gallery, which I told you guys we were going to go to, and I bought a print. And then Stephen Powers, he actually knows a lot of the same people that John knows. So they ended up talking for like an hour, which was great because I got to sit down. I was pooped. We walked over the Brooklyn Bridge, which was crazy. I only have ever crossed the Williamsburg Bridge. When I first started getting tattooed by Mark, I was scared to take the subway, so I would walk from Manhattan, where the megabus drops you off, to Mark's shop in Greenpoint. So I would take the Williamsburg Bridge over the water. And it's a cool bridge. It has like a ton of graffiti on it. It's like sturdy. You're like boxed in, so you can't like blow out. And it's separated, so the bikes all take the right side of the bridge and pedestrians take the left side. There's like this street artist Goya who has a bunch of pieces on there, who came through Philadelphia one time. I always liked his stuff, so that's always cool. And then there's like some political graffiti on there, which is like, you know, like feminist vibe. It's cool. The Brooklyn Bridge is scary. It's made of wood. The railings are like this high, like babies are looking over them. Everyone's posing for Instagram, like literally sitting on the railing. One girl was like with her boyfriend. She was like, hurry up, and then flipped her hair. And I was like, she's going to flip her whole self off. But the Brooklyn Bridge, you can see the Statue of Liberty off of. So it's kind of cool, really touristy. No separation of bikes and people. So bikes are just like whizzing by. There was one dude, I'm not kidding, who was filming himself on the bike with the baby, like the baby seat. So he had a baby on board, filming himself on the bike on the Brooklyn Bridge, where the walkway is this big. And I was like, where am I? It is all hands on deck in New York. So we went to Espo's shop, and I bought this print. And it's hand screened, and this right here is signed in pencil, so that's really cool. He had prints in all different price ranges, and they're all in drawers, and you can pick which ones you want. The top drawers being more affordable, and then as it goes down, his most expensive print was $1,000. And you know, maybe when John and I get older and more bratty and have like a true art collection. But I just got us this for now. Espo, Stephen Powers, he does a lot of these like phrasing matchup kind of things. He had one that said drag yourself to work day, and it was like a big pile of trash, and I wanted that one, but John and I were both like, well, we like our jobs. So you can follow him. If you look up Espo on Instagram, it'll come up, ESPO. It's the Icy sign shop, Inner City Youth. Super cool. He started in Philadelphia, so yeah, he just knew a ton of people. He has a mural in Old City, and it's on the same wall as Old City Tattoo. It's in a parking lot. But the mural he has in Old City, I have a ton of photos of it, but it's all like things you would have to be from Philly to understand. And there's a lot of cool, like really Philly things on there, like a soft pretzel running around, but then like more things like you'd have to know. And on this mural, there's a little thing about Vez, and Vez used to be a bike messenger. And our friend Ryan, who passed away, actually painted a mural for Vez. So when we went to Stephen Powers' shop, we asked if Ryan could be added to the mural in Old City, and Stephen Powers said yes. So before I start crying, it was just really cool. Like John, like I know John really wanted to like talk to him about it. So it was really cool. So that was cool. Super glad we went there. From there, there was this like kosher ice cream spot I went to years ago. And I was telling John about it. But it's in the like Hasidic Jewish part of New York. So if you know anything about like Orthodox Jewish, it's kind of the sect of Judaism where the men wear the curls that come down, and the men wear like the black hat and the like black jacket. They like can't wear wool. The women don't show their hair, so the women wear wigs. And the women can't show their legs, so they wear like opaque, like skin tone leggings. So it's interesting when you're in the part of Brooklyn that is the like Hasidic Jewish part. Like when I would walk over the Williamsburg Bridge, I have this story where the first time I went to Greenpoint, I got lost because I didn't have a smartphone. And I had like written directions, and when I got off the bridge, I didn't know if I had to go like left or right. And there was a woman there, and I had asked her, and she just didn't say anything to me. She's just like, and I was like, I'm sorry. Am I just going the right way? I'm sorry. I'm from Philly. She was like, and that was my first time ever even experiencing like an Orthodox Jewish person. I had like read a book about how the women cover their hair, but I didn't make the connection back then. So that was years ago. Now I kind of have more understanding. There's a documentary on Netflix that I watched. It's like, I think it's called like One of Us or All of Us or The One, something like that. If you look up Orthodox Jewish, it comes up. It's the first thing that comes up. And then one girl whose hair I did over like the last couple weeks, she lives in that part of Brooklyn as well, so we were kind of talking about it. It's a very interesting religion, though. It's really interesting to be in the thick of it, but kosher ice cream is like accidentally vegan, and they have this like it's like a whole counter, and they have like non-dairy and dairy toppings and like non-dairy milkshakes and non-dairy hot fudge. So going there is just like an experience, but you also go there and recognize that you're like in this like very Orthodox like religious neighborhood, and it's very strict, and the people can't talk to you. But you also see like regular people walking around like who aren't a part of the religion. So and I'm not this is all just like shit I witnessed. I'm not trying to like stereotype or talk about somebody's religion in a way that is problematic. This is just like a witness account. So, sorry. I can't breathe. So we go to this ice cream place, and the closer we get to it, the more we're like in the thick of the Hasidic neighborhood. All the little kids are running around with like yarmulke and then the really long just curls. And I looked that up, and it's because it says they can't shave the sides of their face. And the men wear beards as well. And we go inside, and there's like a roped line. And there's all these people standing next to the roped line. So it's like a couple little girls and their moms with the wigs on. And we're like, to John, I'm like, do you think they're in line? They're like not in the ropes. And John's like, I don't know. I don't want to like just get in front of them, but they might not be in line. So I'm like, excuse me, are you in line? And it was the same shit as like a couple years ago. They were like, and I was like, is it okay if we get in line before you? Are you in line? And just, so then one of the moms like rushes by us, and I like feel her physically like rush by us. And it's like 90 degrees, and they have to be fully clothed. So the mom comes with like 4 other like teenage girls, and they all get in line in front of us, and then all the group to the side gets in the ropes too, and they all go. And it takes like 25 minutes, and John and I were like, I guess that's what we get for being polite, but like we did the right thing. But we should have just went. So it was crazy, and they all speak Yiddish. So they're not speaking English to each other, but like they kind of, like the younger kids are speaking English, and then the moms are speaking Yiddish to the kids. It's pretty interesting, and they can't talk to you. So we couldn't ask if they were in line in front of us, and then more of their friends, so then we did get in line, and then more of their friends got in line in front of us too, so they weren't separated by us and then them, so they got in line too. And John was just like, I don't know if they're being rude or not, but I'm getting frustrated. But we were in their neighborhood, you know. So after that, so I got 2 scoops of cookie dough with non-dairy hot fudge on it. It was so fucking good. It was so good. Cut in line in front of me all day. So is it a cultural or religious thing that they wouldn't talk to you? So they are a very, and I want to say the right word, inclusive group. Is that, or is it exclusive? So they want to keep everybody inside. They don't want to take in any outside like influence or shit like that. And when I went to that ice cream place in like 2011, there used to be a sign on the door with a list of rules, and they have since removed the sign. The girl whose hair I did a couple weeks ago said that like they tried to get rid of the bike lanes that go through Williamsburg, and you know, the bike coalition won that, but like they want to keep things really inclusive and keep out outsiders. So I believe they weren't talking to us because we aren't Hasidic Jewish people, and they only talk to each other. And that's to like, it's supposed to keep the integrity of their religion. So no outside influence, no talking to outsiders, and this is supposed to keep their religion stronger. So, you know, when John was like, So when John was like, I don't know if they're being rude or not, like, either do I. But I think, and I don't know this for sure, I think like the women and children don't talk to outsiders. But the men, I've seen them in like on TV, I've seen them in like comedy shows, but I don't know if the comedy shows are for each other. Like they're performing for their religion and we happen to see it, you know what I mean? So no one was talking to us. So we leave, and from there, Rose Tattoo was only a 40-minute walk. And I was like, you want to walk it? Like, I love Brooklyn. The house, every block is different. It's so cool. And the houses are beautiful. John is really into trains. So we were like walking through some of the train stations and stuff like that. So we were like, let's walk. We'll eat our ice cream. It's 90 degrees, but I had sunscreen on. So, and this, like I said again, this is my very limited experience. We spent like 1 hour in Williamsburg with, like the Orthodox Jewish neighborhood. And like I said, I had only had one other previous encounter. And in that encounter, again, when I asked a question, the woman didn't feel comfortable answering it. So, just my experience. Your experience might be completely different. I don't live in Brooklyn. I look like I'm from Philly. You know what I mean? So we're walking, and there are so many children. And they're everywhere. And they're not all of them are being watched by their parents. I looked it up later, and the average like Hasidic household has a minimum of 8 children. That's just the average, but 8 children. And in the documentary I watched on Netflix, I think she had 7 children. So they had so many kids, and so many kids were running around, and sometimes it was like a 10-year-old girl with like a 4-year-old boy in a stroller, and she was pushing him. I saw like a lot of the like oldest sibling with the younger siblings but no parents, and just like all the little kids have like razor scooters or like small bikes or like those little push cars with the yellow hood and the car is red, and there's just so many fucking kids everywhere, and they're like zooming past you. They're not saying excuse me, they're like physically like zooming past you, which was like something I also experienced in the ice cream shop. Like everyone was like very close touching you, but like not acknowledging you, not like excuse me. In Philadelphia, it's very excuse me. Like even if you're not that close, if you have to walk past someone where it might obstruct their view, you even say excuse me. Not even like excuse me, you'll just say like sheh. It's a Philly thing. So we turned one corner, and John said it was like Lord of the Flies. There were just like 25 kids, and then there was one kid face down on the ground. Like not fallen, like holding his knee, like his face on the ground. And I was like, John, should I help that kid? Should I ask if he's okay as we got closer? And then a kid snapped a rubber band on me, and I was like, what is going on? And there was just like a big wheel, a razor bike, a scooter, everywhere, just like everywhere. Like we were walking over them, and then there was like just so many little boys. And then the kid who was flat down on the ground got up, and like 7 kids circled him, and I swear it was like the craziest thing ever. And John was like, I think it'll be okay if you don't ask him for help, like if he needs help, only because like that might not be okay that I do that. And also like, where's the parental supervision for 25 kids? Like I'm not kidding. It was so many kids and so many bikes like just thrown. But it's interesting because I would never keep my bike not locked up, and everywhere in this part of like this couple block span was just like chaos, but like everything was okay, you know what I mean? Like maybe even the car doors were unlocked. Like, so they like self-police, and they like self-govern their neighborhood. They have like a town watch. Like everything is pretty like, I don't know, like, is the word inclusive? Like they have their own buses, and even on the side of the buses is written in Hebrew, so you don't even know what the bus is for. They have their own ambulance. They have their own fire department. So with all that in mind, I was like, all right, I won't ask that kid if he needs help. He wasn't like wailing, crying though, but he was like face the fuck down. Like what John said, this is like Lord of the Flies when we approached that kid, because I thought he was dead. Then we kept walking, and there was an abandoned subway entrance that they had boarded up with plywood and painted green. So it was just like this large box protruding from the ground. But John and I, and any passerby would know it used to be a subway entrance. John's into that stuff, so he was like looking at it, trying to like peel the plywood back to like get a good peek. And this older man, Hasidic man, I guess not married because he didn't have the jacket on, came to like watch us. And I was like, John, we gotta go. I don't care how much you like trains. We just gotta get the fuck out of here. Like that dude is like purposefully watching us. We just gotta fucking go. There's a million kids. If one kid bumps into me again, he snapped the rubber band. Like we gotta get the fuck out of here. Like I started to panic a little bit. So, we bounced. But, I don't know. It's definitely really, really interesting. Really interesting stuff. When I got home, Like, I tried to absorb as much information as possible about it. Like, there's only the one documentary on Netflix. There's no documentary on Hulu, but I also think there's not much information out there because it would have to be somebody leaving the religion in order to speak about the religion. And, you know, to leave the religion, you leave everything. So, like, the women, you know, you just, like, you have your kids and it's a sense of community and you have your own schools and life. So to leave the religion, you just leave with nothing. So there's not a ton of information about it. But if you ever go to New York and you think you might be into a similar experience as me, I don't want to encourage you to, like, go and gawk and be like, wow, that's crazy. But at the same time, definitely experience. I also really like that ice cream, so it comes with that. So I'm gonna read the comments real quick. I hope I didn't, like, upset anybody. Reminds me of how my friends lived in the Philippines as a little kid. He had a bike gang. Many Orthodox religions are very strict. I just respect all because that's part of our world. So in many religions, some may feel judged and shouldn't because it's not personal. Our beautiful world, music and peace. Yeah, that's why there was confliction from John and I. Like, even in the ice cream place, I was like, should I ask them if they're in line? I don't want to butt in line, and I don't want to talk to them if I'm not allowed to, but are we good? And then the same thing with the little boys. I didn't want it to be like, if I talk to them, are they going to get in trouble? You know? But you're, like, compelled to be a, like, human too. Like, John and I are, like, polite people, you know? Humanitarians. So it's an interesting, like, those couple blocks, you definitely feel like you're almost in a different country because people are speaking a different language. Everything is written in Hebrew, and you're just like, this is a very different culture than mine. And when it's placed next to my culture or, like, New York culture, you're like, what is going on? It's definitely interesting though. Like, I didn't want to, like, walk around with my camera and be like, all right, I'm in the Hasidic part of Williamsburg. It's wild here. Look at all these kids killing each other. But, like, I don't know. I bet there's a video about it. I couldn't find a ton of stuff on YouTube about it. I found some stuff that was definitely made by a church describing different things about the religion. Like, there's a video where it's just a woman talking and then text that plays on, like, a yellow background that's like, this is a wig. This is what a Hasidic woman wears on her head. You know, but I'm like, why? I've had a lot of similar experiences with the Orthodox folks in Brooklyn. Unfortunately, my family is really small on the Orthodox side, but I still can't keep track of all my cousins. Someone says it's not unusual. I've been to Israel and the Orthodox people were talking to me. Actually, it was just one woman yelling at me for breaking a Jewish rule. Heard that my partner's always chasing them dang trains. But yeah, that was our experience in New York. And then honestly, afterwards, I tried my best to, like, go online and, like, research what I experienced. not to toot my own horn or some shit, but it was just interesting. Can you recap the backstory again for people just joining us? John and I went to New York over the weekend, and when we went to the Hasidic Orthodox part, Jewish part of Brooklyn, we were just kind of knee deep in the religion and the culture that is like super dead strong in New York. So it's definitely interesting to walk through there. Yeah, you might be gawking a little bit at the way people live, but it's just an interesting juxtaposition between like New York and then like almost being in a different country for a couple blocks, like a very self-governed culture that is pretty interesting. She missed the crazy fence lady. So thanks for joining us. If you just joined us, the giveaway this week is this. There is a glitter on my head. It's like, I got it. The giveaway this week is for this sound grenade. You might remember me talking about sound grenades in previous works if you've been a subscriber for a long time. If you're relatively new to the channel, last week's live stream we were kind of talking about personal safety. I was in New York over the weekend. I actually have a camo one of these that I keep in my purse, but I wanted to give away one of these for the weekend. For this week's giveaway, you just have to pop over to my last video and leave a comment with the best way to get a hold of you. You can always open another tab and do it, or remember to do it later, or do it right now. I still have a couple more topics I want to hit on my live stream, so you won't miss anything. So this is the giveaway. If you entered the giveaway last week, you were contacted and sent your parcel. The first giveaway has already been received. So you guys are great. I assume most of you guys are subscribed already, so I'm not asking you, I guess, to subscribe this week, but to comment on my last video where I dye my hair pink. How do your live stream giveaways work? Do you pick from the chat or from the comments after the live stream is posted? So I pick from the comments, but now the way YouTube has it, they show the chat live when you rewatch the video. But yeah, just like leave a comment with the best way to get a hold of you, and then that will turn into the comments after the video is live. I repost all the videos, so there's always that. The giveaway is open to everybody. If okay, says that we're back. Are we back? Okay. Everybody's back. It's good. Smooth now. Very smooth. I just have to order a cable so I can plug directly into my internet modem, I guess. Some people are saying that Twitch is better than YouTube. I think it might just be hard for me to learn a completely new platform. Like, even H3H3 came back to YouTube versus Twitch, so I'm not sure. I think I also pay for pretty cheap internet, so I think if I'm going to continue to do these live shows, like, this has kind of been a little bit of a test, but I should get like a really long Ethernet cable so I can plug directly into my computer. If anyone can tell me the thing I have to... So my laptop doesn't have a hook, like a port for the Ethernet cable. I just have to look that up. Twitch is really toxic. I would stick to YouTube. I was talking about Ariana Grande and I was talking about the Carters. So the Carters came out with a music video for Ape Shit, and it's really good, really worth watching. My uncle owns a computer store if you need help. Somebody said I could get it off Amazon. So I can probably, if I just look hard enough. I do have to go to my P.O. box today anyway. Where I used to live, there was like, just like an odds and ends store that had everything. I bet they would have had it. Twitch isn't great unless you're a gaming YouTuber. Yeah. I get that. The Carters. So Beyonce and Jay-Z came out with a music video. It's really, really good. Definitely worth watching. Not sponsored. I think it's already at like 17 million views anyway. But definitely so good. I know there's probably not a huge demand for like creators, like celebrities and artists to make music videos anymore. So it was definitely really dope and cool to watch. So I was listening to the Carters have a new album, and then I was like, all right, like I like Apeshit, but as I was listening to the rest of the album, it sounded really good, but it's definitely different. It's definitely different to hear Beyonce like rapping instead of like singing. So they put their album out on Tidal, but then the next day you could stream it on Apple Music, which is the streaming service that I use. So I was streaming it on Apple Music, and I was shampooing somebody, and I think like I have a hard time connecting with their music because a lot of it is just like they're very, very successful now, and although we like, you know, worship Beyonce and stuff, it's definitely hard to hear her rapping about like expensive cars. And there's one line where she's like, my grandchildren's grandchildren are already in Forbes, like Forbes magazine. And I'm just like, yeah, Beyonce, I mean, cool. That's great. I want you to be really successful. Nice. Good song. Okay. She's like talking about like driving in the Lamborghini and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, cool, yeah, the Lambo, all right, same. So yeah, I listened to that album, and it's kind of just like Beyonce diving into like rap, which I already don't really like. I don't really listen to a lot of the like rap where you're like talking about stuff like that. And it's hard for me to listen to rap like that and then be like, yeah, totally, when it's like, oh, but these celebrities like rent all these cars for the music videos, or like borrow all this money from the bank, or have all this money printed. There's this like Watch Mojo of like 10 episodes of Cribs that you didn't know were faked, and it's just like all of them. And it was like, that's not even his house. Like, that house was rented, and you could go on the website to see the rental. And then you're like, well, where does Ja Rule even live? So I listened to the new Carters album. I didn't really like it. It's good to listen to in the background. Like, I listened to Apeshit a couple more times, and I love the music video. Like, I could keep watching the music video. But the album I really did like was Ariana Grande's album. I really like Ariana Grande now. Like, she has 2 singles that are out right now for her new album. I don't know. I think her album's called Sweetener, and it's her with like a rainbow across her face. It's so good. Ariana Grande, you know, she's just talking about how she was sad and there's just nothing left, and she can't even be sad anymore. Like, she was already as sad as she could be, so now she's just gonna like walk away from it and turn it around and feel good. And I was like, yeah, bitch, I'm into that. I don't have a Lambo, but I'm fucking sad, so let's turn it around. So now I stan Ariana Grande. I'm a little late to the game. I always love when she's on like late night shows and shit, and like I would die for her fiance, so it's all working out. But I wanted to ask you guys, like, I just have the word YouTube beef. What YouTuber was beefing with Ariana Grande? It was like earlier this year. I'm gonna check. I'm gonna pop into the chat, but like I worked at a Halloween horror night at Universal Studio, and we got to scare Ariana Grande. Oh my god. Her ponytail was probably whipping. James Charles. Yeah, so there was like one YouTuber who had like beef with Ariana Grande, and I thought it was so crazy. I feel like YouTubers like aren't allowed to talk to celebrities, and like celebrities have to approach us first, and we have to be like, hi, hey. It might not be true, but like yeah, I do remember there was beef, and I remember like kind of tuning into it and just being like, what the fuck? Ariana Grande watches YouTube? No, she doesn't. But that was also before this fucking bop came out, and now I'm just like, yo, are we listening to the jam? But before you unsubscribe because I say that I like Ariana Grande, I think that you should listen to that one song. Because the first time I listened to it, I was like, whatever. Because I wanted to listen to that Nicki Minaj song, and it played afterwards. And then I was like, let me play that back. So how is the stream strength? Good? Because I want to talk about Instagram TV. So Instagram is coming out. Well, they came out. It was announced on the 20th, but Philip DeFranco had mentioned it was coming out, and I remember being like, and I never thought about it again. And then Instagram announced it on Wednesday, and it is Instagram TV. Ooh, Eva Stolansky came out with a new t-shirt, and that is the icon for it. IGTV. I have downloaded it, but I have not signed in, and that's where we're at. So Instagram TV is going to offer long form formats of video, just like Instagram stories, but they can be up to an hour. Unverified accounts can post up to 10 minutes, and verified accounts can post up to an hour. My Instagram app is not updated since last summer, so I don't know if your Instagram app looks like this. Probably not. Mine is just like painfully not updated at all. So so that is Instagram TV. You're going to be able to view long form videos. Since my Instagram app is not updated, I have not interacted with Instagram TV at all. I read an article about it. It says that Laura DIY is already on there, and she's someone I subscribe to, but I haven't. If you go to her Instagram, you can't view that content, I guess, until I update my Instagram or my phone. My phone is old, but it's not broken yet, so like. So here's my confliction on like if I should do Instagram TV. I don't know if it's easier content for people to digest, but I also like my live stream a couple weeks ago, I told you guys that like Instagram stories, I feel like is something that's like really keeping us engaged with the app. It keeps you on the app. So Instagram TV is keeping you on the app as well. And one, I feel like it's just so much stuff for creators to have to do to keep up. And if I'm worried that I'm not getting enough engagement on my channels and my videos like I used to, it's also like, well, there used to just be YouTube, and now there's all this. And I'd love to like accommodate people who consume media in different ways, but I also need to live a normal life. So I don't know. Philip DeFranco says that he is going to be rolling out Instagram Live, Instagram TV videos. And it might be cool because there might be less censorship. So people who are censored a lot on YouTube might not be censored as much on Instagram TV. But also, like, do you get paid? And is it directly connected to your Instagram? Because I feel like I would have to completely change the content on my Instagram if it's going to be directly connected to my long form content. Like, even though I have 58,000 followers on Instagram, I just still feel like it's a little bit more of a personal experience, you know? I feel like it's just a little more personal. And that might not be true for everybody, but Instagram is like that eye on what you're doing. It's like what you're eating and what you see, and it's pictures of your family members and your friends, which are less likely to show up on your YouTube channel unless you're a daily vlogger. So I also don't know if I want to attach the completely accessible but somehow still more personal Instagram to my long form content. And I just don't want to do it. It's just more stuff. And I would arguably say every YouTuber says something along the lines of like, I want to focus more on YouTube and I want to make better YouTube videos. And like me, like I think of YouTube videos and content all day, and I just can't keep up with the amount of work I want to do and still be sane and normal. And I can't justify hiring an editor because I make minimum wage on YouTube and think that I am a smaller YouTuber, so I should still fit in the original format of YouTube. And I was talking to Morgan about this, and I was really heated because I was like, YouTubers who found success, and good for them, can hire filmers, like people to film them, videographers and stuff, a film crew. That might just be one person. They can hire a film crew, they can hire an editor, and they raise the bar for content. So then you guys watch my content and you think it's not as good. And I got this message. It was a really long message, and I'm not talking shit on the girl who went out of her way to sit down and type it. You know, I appreciate you. But she said, and she must go to art school because she knew what she was talking about, but she said that like my lookbook would have been better if I hired someone to film it for me, because she said when the camera's on the tripod, it's so stationary that it feels artificial and it's like jarring to the person viewing. And it's true. Like, I'll see videos where it's someone being filmed and you can tell they're being filmed because the camera isn't so stationary, it's like fluid. And that feels better on the eye. But it's hard to resist being like, I can't hire someone to film my video on a video that only has 8,000 views. That video generates $8. So, yeah, like, I can ask one of my friends to do it, but then it's like embarrassing and it's just not, it's not right. It's not what I can do. But YouTubers years ago, that was how we filmed lookbooks. And that's how I like to film lookbooks. And I like to have fun with it and take myself out for the day and do it. But, you know, other YouTubers who have drone footage and someone to film it and someone to edit it and 4K and all this stuff just to, like, go to the grocery store, then the viewer is transformed for the content they seek and they feel good watching. So then YouTubers like me, I'm just like, I can't do that. I know it's a better concept, and until I become a YouTuber who can afford to attach a budget to every video, sure, but I can't. I can't like spend more money than I make, you know? And also, like, beside all that, I don't know. I don't want to push the bar for YouTube to be a production with, like, a production team. Unless, like, the production team is also, like, all my homies. But that's just not where I'm at, you know? So, I hope that, like, smaller YouTubers or, like, independent YouTubers who don't have a whole team can still be, like, I don't know. I know the person who contacted me came from, like, an art background, but I also had to wonder, like, is this the bar that YouTubers set, you know? So if YouTubers are making content that's really, really good and, like, production value good and, like, reality TV show good, where, like, I don't stand a chance. I mean, I want YouTube to evolve and stuff, and, like, no, I don't necessarily want Kevin Hart to have a series on YouTube, but I can't stop him, you know? So I think about stuff like that, and I do think about, like Instagram TV, like, just keeping, like, pushing it and pushing it and pushing it, and I don't know if one day everyone's gonna fall off. Like, even you guys, like, how many of you guys can reasonably say you are going to watch a TV show on your iPhone while you're on Instagram, you know? And they say that you can continue watching, so you can watch something for 5 minutes, do your job, and then come back to Instagram and watch it for 10 more, and then do something else and watch it for 10 more. And there has to be research that shows that people want to interact with content that way, but I'm just not sure if that is healthy for me personally, or what I want to do with my own content. I don't know, you, like, want your content to evolve and you want to be a better creator in every aspect, and I'm like, yeah, you know, maybe I should look into having someone film one of my videos. I bet any one of you guys, if you were local, would volunteer your time, you know, or it could be a skill share. Like, if anyone was interested in becoming a YouTuber, you could help me film for the day. You know, I did that back in December for Vlogmas. I have all these options, and it's always like my instinct to look on the negative and to be cynical, but I also just ask a lot of questions. So that's where I'm at. I've watched YouTube since 2008, so I don't know. I could do it, but I'm also much more busy these days, being 28 and all. Same age. I think it's cool that we have YouTube. And when I turn on my TV, YouTube is the first thing I click on. And even though I've gotten really out of beauty videos, and now I watch, like, a lot more, like, people exploring an abandoned building videos, and I watched, like, every tiny house video. There's, like, this one channel where she goes and she films, like, weird apartments all over the country, all over the world, and I watched, like, her entire channel. But still, I don't know. So I'm gonna go into the chat for a second here. It was James Charles. He said she was the rudest celebrity he's met. Yo. I don't understand people's heavy criticism on individual creators' content. At some point, you need to realize they make it more themselves at the end of the day. I think it's true, but because so many creators come from so many different backgrounds, like Casey Neistat, like, his background and experience is just going to make his content phenomenal. So since we all exist on the same platform, we all hold a bar to him. So I think it just makes a lot of room for people to be like, why isn't your content as good as other content I've seen? And that's why I feel like it relies so much on context, or like what the content is about. If I told you like a dope story that captivated you, it wouldn't matter if I was in like an ill-lit room and had like a snaggletooth and just like, I don't know, like my editing was shit. You would be like, yeah, she's ugly and doesn't know what she's doing, but that was a good story, you know? So I don't know. Your videos are loved. They are real and relatable. You're one of the small handful of influencers I can keep up with and want to keep up with. Well, thank you. It's really good to hear. It's great. I definitely like, I want to keep it real. I want to keep it authentic on the channel. That's all I know. And I just want to keep growing so you guys like can grow with me and it doesn't get stale. So thank you. As someone wanting to start a channel, I have a fear of having poor production quality. People want to watch well-produced content, which as a single person and a YouTube newbie, I can't provide. That's true. But there's definitely like, I mean, I keep it pretty low budget. And like I said, there's definitely growing pains on the channel. Like people want me to create more than I can. So, I mean, that would yield an editor to help you edit. And people want better production quality, so that would be someone to record me. But at the same time, you can just do your best with what you have. I filmed the first handful of videos on my channel, I filmed on my iPhone, and I still continue to film on my iPhone when I can. So, I mean, the voiceover I did at the end of my Kmart video was just the record feature on my iPhone. So there's tons of stuff you can do really, really, really low budget. And if the content is there, then people will watch. And I mean, I think if you're just making videos you like, people who are just like you will find your stuff and they'll like it too. Isn't that a shallow way of choosing what you watch on social media? Shouldn't you just watch what you watch because you like the person and the content they spend their time and effort making? What is this in reference to? Like, in reference to the quality being good? I guess it's a shallow way in a sense, but I also think that, like I said, there are YouTube channels out there with a crazy budget who put budget into like every single one of their videos so they can make the best video possible for their viewers. And I don't want to discredit them. Like, that's a beautiful thing to be like, I only want to make the best video possible every single time I post. So when there's content creators out there like that, like, there's definitely people who want to view the best of the best. Like, if you told someone, okay, do you want to watch like a medium production video for 10 minutes or a high production video for 10 minutes? They would be like, well, I want to watch high. I want to watch, we want to see movies in 3D. We want to have an HD TV. We want the best of the best all the time. How many times has Apple changed the camera on their phones because people are like, I want the best camera, I get it. Oh, wow, Cosmia. Chatted a few times before your following really exploded. Wanted to say it's so chill how you stayed humble and true to yourself regardless. Thank you. I have to ground myself a lot. There's like, I don't know. I think too critically, I feel like, all the time, and I self-evaluate constantly. But at the end of the day, I've always kind of just felt like humble is where we're at, and I'm not trying to humble brag at all. Just like, I don't know. Every day I just feel like I'm trying to be critical of my self-improvement while still exploring my soul and understanding what I like and don't like, and forgiving myself for the things I can't control. And I hope that that vibe can always be conveyed on my channel, because like I just want the people who relate to feel like, I don't know. I think the easiest compromise is placing your tripod further away and doing more pans in the editing. I think so too. I think that's good. John just got into iDubbbz. Because I watch Max Mofo Pokemon. And he just had a collab with iDubbbz. And I really like iDubbbz editing, because he has a stationary camera and you feel like you're moving the whole time. I would really love to take a class on editing. I wish I could edit better. Just over here in the chat. My friends used to pay me in lunch or dinner to help with his videos. It was a fun creative process that didn't cost us a shit ton. Yeah, I have this video idea where I like pop around Philly, and I have these like 2 subscribers, like turned pals, who came to tattoo convention to chat. They were like, let us help you plan a Quicken meetup when you want to have one. And they were actually in the salon yesterday. They're not local, but I feel like if I asked them for help, they would say yes. And I have to like be more open to that. I think a lot of it has to do with planning, obviously. So I just have to be a better planner. Amanda, don't get sucked into IGTV. Your social media diet has been inspiring and made me think differently about creators. And fuck the haters, your DIY videos are sick and punk as fuck. Thanks. What? Punk as fuck. Sorry. I feel like not, I think relapse is a fucked up word to say right now. I feel like I've found myself on social media a little more and more every day, and I really need to reflect and be better about it. And I know I've been sick, so I've had like a ton of downtime, and in that time I could have been reading, and I found myself like too weak to like go out and do something, so like I'm just on social media. And all the stuff happening in the news, I feel like I really need to know about what's happening. So I've been in the know because of that. And then you don't want to miss anything because you don't want to be ill-informed, because that's our responsibility to be informed. And then at the end of the day, I find out I was on my phone 3 more hours than I was like last week when I was doing better. I really wanted to clean my house this week. And I felt really guilty that it wasn't clean. And I know I was sick, so I'm trying to like work out like what was me being sick and what was me like feeling weak. So I was going on my phone to feel better. So I've been working that out. And that's hard. Like, you want to say that you're good at, and like, I've been really good about not fucking around on Instagram, but it's Twitter, man. I'm on Twitter. I'm on it. But I don't want to miss anything. Which, so on here, I have VidCon and then a question from you guys. Yo, I'm also a vegan freak in Philly and will be so down to help you with your videos or even get coffee. Are you on Twitter? Hit me up. I think you're too hard on yourself, to be honest. It's true. It's true. And I was thinking this the other day, self-reflecting. It's like when you try to work out yourself and your self-awareness all the time, like when do you just like put it on autopilot and just cruise through life? And I've had a hard time with that lately. So on here I have VidCon. So VidCon is right now, and I was not invited to VidCon or anything like that. VidCon is just like a big convention every year in California, and then they have one in Europe and I believe Australia. Ooh, my air conditioner stopped. It sounds really bleak in here now. Hi, baby. Are you awake? Are you weird? You just gonna sleep on all that wrapping paper? So VidCon is right now, and obviously there was controversy about VidCon. So if you go to VidCon and have like a relatively large following, then all the attendees kind of gather around you, and you have to give special permissions to go to VidCon as a larger creator, because then you get a wristband which allows you to walk behind the scenes, get special like security allowances and stuff like that. So Mikey from Glam and Gore was not invited to be a creator, so she can't go, because if she goes as like a regular ass person and buys the like $35 ticket or whatever and isn't invited, so if she goes then she'll be mobbed, and if you're mobbed then you get escorted out and you don't get a refund, you know, you don't get anything like that. Don't think I'm trying to make a connection to that. I know nobody's mobbing me. I actually got a really nice email from a girl who said that she lives in Anaheim and I could stay with her and we could go to VidCon together, you know. That was really, really, really nice. And I also got invited to go to VidCon through this like vegan network, but I would have had to sign a contract. I hit up Morgan and asked her if they contacted her and she said no, so I was like, I don't know if it was a scam. But I said no anyway. So the opportunity for me to go to VidCon was like available, you know. I just feel like since I've never been there, I don't know what I could take from it. And like, yeah, I would love to stand in the line and try to win the lottery to meet one of my favorite creators. But I don't know. I don't know if it needs to be expanded, if it needs to be bigger. I know that like creators who want to be there have a lot to say about it, and I definitely do feel bad for Mikey who wishes she could be there. It's definitely a great control if you're worried about safety while hosting a meetup, which is something I worry about and something Mikey probably worries about. And how else do you host a meetup, you know, without that, you know? So it's great for that. I just don't know. I'm not sure what I would get out of it if I went as a fan. And there's a lot of like YouTube things I'm not involved in. Like there's this big like TV premiere that they have for like YouTube Red. What's it called? Escape the Night. I've never watched Escape the Night, so it's just like stuff on there. Morgan is really just gonna post this. There's just stuff like that on there that I don't know. I'm also bitter though. Like I do wish I was there, FOMO, but I'm not at VidCon obviously. Have you guys ever been to VidCon? Did you get anything out of it? You know? I wish I was invited to TanaCon, honestly. So I am going to read a little bit of the chat and then close out the live stream with one more question. We are at the 2-hour mark. I'm a Minneapolis fine artist, and I can tell you you're an artist by nature. It is instinctual for you. Trust yourself. Stop saying I don't know, because you do know. Thank you. That's definitely a bad habit that I'm in. Morgan Thick. So My final topic today, I'm going to open my window because now that the air conditioner is off, it's like really quiet. And it looks like it's starting to rain a little bit. I have my Jersey Shore sweatpants on. Great group of people, so happy to be involved in the feed today. Yes. Meme review. So I'm so glad that we can all come together as a community and hang out. I know YouTube is going to be rolling out some new features on the website. One of them is to post your video in like it's a video you've edited, and to post the video in a live format so people can talk through your video while it's happening. And I think that's going to be really cool. I'm excited for that. And then there's another option for creators to be sponsored, so similar to Patreon, which I think I'll get involved in. I had a hard time with Patreon where I live in Philadelphia. Just like there's a lot of taxes for services like that I was paying. So I felt really bad for patrons who were like paying $1 and being like, yeah, you know, I can't give much, but I can give $1. And then their dollar was just being taxed 8%. And that just made me feel bad. So, you know, I just feel bad all the time. So I canceled my Patreon. And then there was, I think I was using Patreon really, really early. So there was a disconnect between like patrons and like their addresses and ways I could connect with them. So I'm over that. So if YouTube rolls that out and it's more efficient, that'd be cool. And then YouTube is hosting like in-house merch. So I might get my feet wet with that. We'll see. If it's through YouTube, I feel more comfortable about it, you know. So the final question I wanted to talk about today is, do content creators have an obligation to their fans to be socially active? Should all creators use their platform to fight racism, sexism, etc.? So I thought this was a really good question. I got this on Twitter, and I think about that all the time. I think about like what my responsibilities are as someone with a platform. And I remember I used to follow this girl on Twitter. When I first made a Twitter, I just like followed whoever followed me back for a while because I was like, I'm new to this. I trust you guys for following me. And I used to follow this girl, and then one day she was like, no respect for people with a platform who don't use it to like share their voice for goodness or whatever. And I remember thinking like, I felt really bad. I was like, yeah, like I have a platform, not as big as others, but I have a platform where I could spread awareness and stuff. And for a while I kind of tried, you know, I have some older videos where I talk about things like of a political nature and shit like that. And I just felt like I wasn't really raising awareness in a great way. And I also feel like there is a big opportunity for misinformation to be shared or information to be misinterpreted when someone without experience promotes it. So I just like I just don't know, like I think that people that hold creators to this responsibility or like celebrities to this responsibility, I don't always think it's fair. And I don't really like, I think someone said it best. They were like, I don't turn to Justin Bieber in times of a crisis. And yeah, I don't think that you should. I think if you want to stay politically active, it's definitely your responsibility as a person to find that research and think things through critically without an influence. Like, I never want to put how I feel on you, and then you feel like you have to feel the same exact way, or you're not a fan anymore. Or I also don't want to say something wrong and you be like, I bought one of your pins, bitch, and you let me down. You know? And I know it's really complicated, and I know that there are creators who are outspoken, but I also think there are creators who are outspoken about like really digestible topics, like really easy things that are political, very advertiser friendly subjects. And then there's like down and dirty shit that no one talks about. But at no point do I feel like we need to be obligated to. I also feel like if a creator, and this is an observation I've made, if a creator speaks out about one thing, they have to start speaking out about everything, or else you think that the thing they've omitted is something that they are siding with. And you hear people who say like, you know, if you're silent, then you've sided with the oppressor, shit like that. But it's interesting because I feel like I almost live a double life, because I'm quicken online with you guys, and then in my personal life, like, I don't really like to say when I'm at protests and stuff, because one, I don't want to trivialize my involvement. I don't want to sacrifice my feeling of safety. And I also don't want to show anybody on camera who doesn't want to be shown. A couple years ago, Danielle and I went to a protest, and we didn't take any pictures because we thought we would get in trouble if our boss saw us there. And that is my real life, you know? So I think once you add a political agenda to anything you do online, all of a sudden you have to fight for it. And I think of the students from Stoneman Douglas High who like can't be kids anymore because they took a position about something that really fucking happened to them, and their position was, I would like that to not happen. This thing that happened to me, I would love if that didn't fucking happen. And people started to attack them online, you know? And that position seems so blatant to me, like, yeah, kids shouldn't be killed. And those people, now everyone knows their first and last name. They're going to have a really hard time for the rest of their lives because the opposition just is there. And the opposition right now is just really, really strong. And I don't need it, you know? And this is not a slide towards any creator who will post about something that's affected them, you know? Who has posted something about something that hurt them. Something that's happened in their community that is close to them. I can't sit here and say that something might not happen in the future that devastates me that I'll be outspoken about. But I do keep a lot of those things in my private life. At home, we watch the news every day. I read the news every morning. And every night we watch independent news and we watch Philip DeFranco. So we are really well-rounded and we're constantly in the know. We're both registered to vote and we do vote. But it's just not something I politicize, like, publicly to you guys. One, I don't think you guys are stupid. I think that you are educated individuals and you're informed people, so you do make decisions, and I can't force you to or not to. Whoa. And it's up to you guys. I mean, it's a challenge to find true information out there and stuff. And I think Philip DeFranco said that there was a report that like 60% of people don't believe the news. So it's like, I try to stay informed and understand what's happening, and then try to hear both sides so I can like figure out like what's fucking crazy and what's being reported. And even that is difficult. Many times your social media, it's just preaching to the choir, since a lot of your followers probably have the same views as you. Yes. That's true too. And I see a ton of stuff that is designed to make you feel guilty. And I talked about this before. Like, there was a lot of things about feminism that made me feel guilty, that made me think I wasn't feminist enough. And then I'll see things online that make me feel like I'm not an activist enough. And it's just simply not true. And definitely different demographics have to get people involved. And if they do it through methods like that, through guilt or like coercion, maybe it's not necessarily wrong. But if you see a statement online that makes you feel guilty about your involvement in like the political atmosphere, just think critically like about what you're capable of. And I don't know. Like, could I have done more about net neutrality? I don't know. Did I send those text messages and did I make those phone calls? Yes. So like, what can you do? Like, I don't attend every protest. Some people have more liberties to attend protests than others. I can't really take off of work on Saturdays, but I don't want to feel fucking bad for it. And there's only so much I can control. And like I said, if I come out and say something if I researched something and believed it to be true, and then it came out that it was wrong, then I, as the middle person, have now communicated misinformation to thousands of people, and it's just not what I want to do. I think his name is like Sean King. He's on Instagram. He does like a lot of news. Someone told him a story about police brutality that he told to thousands of people, and then it came out that the woman lied, and then everyone was mad at him, you know? You just have to think about stuff like that. I mean, I do as a creator, and I never want to spread misinformation. I want us to be able to find trust in media one day. And I don't think people like me fucking telling everyone how they feel, but it's presented as a fact, does very good. Unless it was my whole life. Unless you came onto my Instagram and you knew that you were about to get into a politically charged conversation with me, but you're not. You come here for entertainment and fun. Hi, small. And I mean, you can probably know how I feel. And I've also been someone who's been manipulated into feeling a certain way online because of something I read. So I don't think it's a creator's responsibility to get political and present themselves really like socially active. They can. And I'm not saying the ones that do more harm than good, but I didn't go to school for stuff like that. And like, politics and stuff was never something I was really interested in. I saw something the other day that was like, no, I wasn't really interested in Obama era politics because I was learning all the words to a Fall Out Boy album. And I think that's pretty true. Until everything was fucked, I was kind of zoned out on everything. So it's all kind of new to me as well, you know. Being vegan was like the first thing I ever really believed in. My parents weren't political. I had never seen CNN until I was in my 20s, and I was like, this is just on all the time, you know? So that's how I feel. I thought it was a really good question, and it's something I think about a lot, and it's something I feel like people turn to me for, and it's something I've seen written critically about me. I saw someone who was like, she always hints that she's at a protest. And I'm like, yeah, I want people to, if they live in Philly, know that a protest might be happening, because we turn to social media to find these things. But after I read that comment about me, I just stopped doing it. It's almost better if you go under the radar about stuff like that. And I don't publicize it. And I know that stuff like that, hype, like really publicized, does, I don't know, like can make people uncomfortable. I'm just a regular ass chick, so it's not really the life I want to live. And when I go online, like, I do read the news and form my own opinions, but I rarely get on a soapbox about them. And that's just like how I feel. Politics is always a slippery slope, especially for people who hold the ear of so many others. Best to be honest about your views, but don't feel obligated to talk about them to anyone. I agree with you. I definitely want to, and I am like honest about stuff like that. And I don't know, I feel like if you don't believe that I'm a harmful person, then you can probably assume the things I believe in, you know. So that's how I feel. Like, I'll pop into subjects that might have opposition on this channel, but never like political things. And even that, like, it's so easy for you to get yourself like wrapped up in a scandal on social media these days if you just say the wrong thing. Even if intention isn't there, like, you can see YouTubers who get wrapped up in stuff like this all the time. So I'd rather just save myself a headache. You know, I think that there's constantly going to be people out there who investigate you and want to see, like, you fuck up. And it's so easy for people to take shit out of context. Like, that Shane Dawson scandal was not a long time ago, where someone just, like, mashed up a bunch of things he said together on a podcast. And that was trending on Twitter. And Twitter never, like, issued an amendment to that. We just had to wait for it to go away. So when that's the atmosphere of now, and people are demanding that you speak out against the subject, they don't know what you're up against, and they don't know the repercussions that can exist that are so much longer lasting than anything you could have done by being politically vocal. But it's hard for us to realize that that is manipulation, because when you're put in the arena of feeling like you're doing something good by promoting, like, something that's happening, when someone makes you feel bad for not doing more, just know that even though it's in the face of goodness, you're still being manipulated. Like, you're still being guilted into doing something. Like, you can be political 24 hours a day, or you can be yourself, you know. So that's how I feel. I'm popping into the chat right here. I have a degree in social work, and honestly, this is something I think about a lot. It's exhausting to fight every fight. I have just decided to keep doing my best to protect myself in the process. And I think that's amazing, and I love the way that's worded, to fight every fight. That's how it feels. Every week seems like the worst fucking week, and all of us are shouting, and it feels like the process is so slow, and everybody burns out, and almost nothing gets done. And you almost, like, don't want to burn yourself out. You want to just like stay in the lane of what's right. I think it's awesome when content creators use their platform for good in the way that you do, Quicken. You talk about veganism in a relatable way, and as a fellow vegan, I really appreciate that. Thank you. I think, like I kind of touched on earlier, like, you can just be a good person and you can represent yourself in a way where if people think that you're probably a bad person, I don't know, I just try to be relatable and human. And I feel like that's something I need to see more of in my own life. So that's just something I try to rep, you know. I live in a city. I live in like a melting pot of a bunch of different cultures, and I don't exactly know if my experiences align with maybe yours. And my experiences are always going to guide me in all of my decisions. And I said this, I think, in my like social media diet live stream. Like, when people come in and they try to understand me based on their own experiences, it's always going to create some sort of conflict or misinformation or a misjudgment or a misunderstanding. And when somebody doesn't even understand a post I made about something personal, it's kind of difficult to be willing to put something even more politically charged in its place. I remember it was like International Women's Day, and I made this post about like forgiving my mom and understanding that just the situations that she was placed in at a young age and just the circumstances that led to like my birth and the other circumstances that led to my life and her pitfalls. I understood that it was like a structure that she was placed in, blah, blah, blah. That post is on my Instagram. And that I forgave her, you know. We still don't have a relationship. It's not like I put that out there so she would see it. Like, I haven't even talked to her this year. Like, went home to do my brother's hair. Was that this year? In that post, someone commented, "I don't agree with this post." And I remember thinking, like, how? You know? It's International Women's Day, and today I'm forgiving my mom. And, you know, a lot of people will post, like, it's International Women's Day, and I'm just, like, thankful for my mom, who's always been my leader, or like my grandmom, or like my professor or some shit. So I was talking about my mom and posted some pictures from her fucking child wedding. Maybe I can find the comment. I may have deleted it because I was probably like, this shit. Let me see. The odds are I deleted it because I'm a brat. Anyway, I'm not finding it right away. But yeah, somebody just like flat out was like, I don't agree with that. And you can't fight that, you know? So, like I said, like, that's my little taste. Like, even on International Women's Day, forgiving my mom, and I think I talked about, you know, like, supporting mothers, because that's fucking hard. Someone's like, I don't agree with you. So, that's how it goes. And I don't want to be manipulated into thinking that, like, my belief wasn't valid, that like forgiving my mom on International Women's Day isn't valid because I could have done more with my post, you know. Yes, I could have showcased women around the world, and I could have showcased women who are victims of oppression, and everything like that. Or I could self-reflect, which is just as valuable, because if we take time for self-reflection instead of being so wrapped up in groupthink, you know, then there are variables. Then we're able to meet people who can grant us brand new perspective without needing to shout from the rooftop to be able to be heard over the herd of ideas, you know. So that's kind of how I feel. Like, freak what you feel. Sometimes I'll get frustrated if I see a creator like act like nothing's wrong, but at the same time, I don't put that on them. I just like keep cruising. I keep thinking about myself, and there are times where like I'll black out and I won't post anything so that my voice isn't heard in a time where like other information should be given to you. But I don't announce that. It's subtle, and that's the only way that I would feel comfortable handling something. If something's happening that isn't in my lane, I'm much more comfortable just being silent, putting myself on radio silence for a few days so your feed can fill up with the shit you need to know from reliable sources that you potentially follow. Like, I don't know. If anything ever comes up that I feel like I'm a valuable expert in, I would chime in, but so rarely. Sometimes it's confusing when you talk about your mom because you call two different women mom. I have my biological mother, which sometimes I state, which is my actual mother, so that might be confusing. We don't really have a relationship. Sometimes that bums me out. I know it bums my grandmom out, but like when shit hits the fan, I'm always there. And whenever there's a crisis, I'm there. And even if it's at 10 o'clock at night, like I'm still on the phone figuring shit out. So it's not that I'm like an absent daughter, but I'm just like not really involved in their lives, which is fine. And like I love my brothers, and like it would be dope to just like get a phone call from my mom one day to like hear what's up. But at this point, it's just like very, very stressful. And for someone who takes like absolutely no one's advice to just like be out there in the world is also really stressful. And like you can't tell someone what to do. And I think of it as a way, like I'll hear my coworkers talk about how frustrated they get with like their sisters and how their sisters are like fucking up. And it's a lot more digestible for me to relate my relationship with my mom as like my older sister, you know? So that's what helps me, and that's the relationship I can digest. And some people might not talk to their sister for like months and months at a time unless they need something, or like they need to have something figured out. And that's what I do. Like I've been self-sufficient for 10 years at this point. I'm 28, and nothing wrong with that. Some people have a really great family dynamic, and some people build their own families, and that's kind of where I'm at. So I never want that to be vague or confusing or cryptic. But I also don't want to share any more personal information than that, because it's not my story, you know. But I love my grandmom. She's my whole sun in the sky. I'm in the chat right here. Sometimes I feel creators are cornered into giving political opinions. The internet is an escape for shitty politics for a lot of people. Yeah, that's kind of what I was touching on like being manipulated. Like, it's really easy for someone in my comment section to say something really mean to me and therefore like manipulate or like coerce a response from me. And it's really easy for someone to disguise that as like talking about something political. And they can be really shitty about it. They can be like, oh, you're going to make a post about Kmart while this, that, and the other thing is happening right now. And you just have to recognize that that is a type of manipulation and you can either engage in it or not. But I would rather not feel manipulated. And if I want to speak on something, I want to do it on my behalf and not because I was coerced into it, you know. And you can apply that to yourself as well. But yeah, there's definitely not so much anymore. I think like I'm hoping that a lot of the people in my audience who hate me have finally unsubscribed, because I've been feeling like a lot more chiller vibes lately. But also I've been online less, so I can't tell you which one is what's happening. I don't know if it's because I'm online less or people who genuinely hate me have started to unsubscribe after I've begged them to for so many years. But I also feel like me being backed into a corner to speak on things I'm not ready to or prepared to or educated enough to, I feel like that has died down a little bit. There's not much to be gained for consumers, but creators expose themselves to a lot of backlash. Yeah. And what, you know, I don't say it a lot on here because I don't want to remind anybody, but it's like, yeah, like I'm online and I don't want to say something politically charged that could offend somebody and put me at risk and my safety at risk, you know, so I'd rather not do that. And like I said, anybody who encourages me to say something I'm not comfortable saying is manipulating me, you know? I try to always speak about the things I believe in. I can understand if someone doesn't do it, but I think I prefer when they do. I guess, I don't know, like, if my belief system was like on my shoulder and it's why you followed me, I could understand that, but it's not why you follow me. It might be why you follow someone else, but it's not something that you get a true taste of in any of my videos. So it's definitely not why you're here. If I had a channel that was dedicated to that and it was why you were here and you expected it, but I would say most people aren't going to expect it if one day I just pop off about like Trump or something, you know. People are going to be like, what the fuck just happened? But at my house and in my family and with my friends, that's more understood. And I'll get into a healthy debate with my grandfather, you know, about some shit. But even that exhausts me, and that's in real life, you know. So, but you don't come here for it, you know. So I don't feel like you're missing anything because it never really existed. A couple years ago in some 5 Fact Fridays maybe, but like I'm good now, you know. I think it's a good thing to use your platform for good, but I remember Jackie Aina talking about being exhausted and feeling like people always expect her to speak up about racism. I could definitely understand that. And obviously not comparable to racism at all, but if I wanted to put myself in that similar perspective, I get tagged a lot or emailed a lot or stuff like that, things sent to me when tattoo artists are aggressive or someone has copied someone else's tattoo. I get put in this in between like a lot of tattoo disputes a lot, and it does exhaust me or make me feel like I'm overstepping my boundaries. I've said here before on my channel that I don't like when people send me tattoo artists to ask me if I like their work enough. But I've also been sent drama. One girl sent me this like really well thought out argument. She sent me a picture of a girl who does like these tattoos and only posts pictures of brand new tattoos. She doesn't post them healed, and she uses a lot of whites and variants of colors and like glitter and things like that. And she was like, you should expose this girl because her tattoos don't actually look like that. She uses Photoshop or filters in her pictures, whatever. And I was like, no, I don't want to expose anyone. Unless like I felt truly right in that, I don't want to expose anyone. Even like I have a video, 3 tattoos I was refused, and without a doubt, it is my most viewed video. Even this month, it was my most viewed video of this month. So all the videos I made this month, this video that I made 3 years ago was still the most viewed this fucking month. So let's see. So this video has 1.7 million views. That video is probably what keeps my channel afloat to this day. I get comments on it still to this day. And everyone always wants me to expose the 3rd tattooer I talked about in that story. And people will guess who it is. One person the other day asked if it was Mark Cross, and I was like, fuck no. Do not associate Mark Cross. No. So people always want you to risk your reputation and expose and do shit you're not comfortable with. And even that video is so popular because it's like a little taste of that. But I feel exhausted. And if that YouTuber, you know, gets tagged in like racial disputes, or people show them like acts of racism because they want their opinion on it, it's definitely exhausting, definitely taxing. I feel I never, like, I get tagged in a lot of pictures where it's people who get similar tattoos as me, and I've said this like a million times, like, don't tag me if you see someone stealing my tattoo. I'd rather not know, you know what I mean? Like, I already went through knowing, and like now I'd rather not know. So I mean, definitely I'm not comparing that to racism, but I can see that being definitely exhausting when you make yourself like a spokesman for a topic, and then one day you're like, I don't think all the creative content we consume has to be political charged. I agree. I think politics are rampant among us right now. America, not just America, everywhere. And like I said, we consume, in this household, we consume a lot of that content. So like, once, you know, if we just tune into like a Dead Mall series, put on The Staircase, and just like, actually The Staircase fucked me up. We finished it. I have theories. Late to the game, but the rose gold looking so fresh. Thank you. I was thinking about canceling my hair appointment and just like letting this rock for a couple days. I think Kay will kick my ass, but I'll recover. I guess there's other YouTubers that call out tattoo artists by name in their videos. They get a lot of hate too. I don't know I don't know if I've ever seen a video like that, but so after I made that 3 tattoos I was refused, I made a follow-up video the next day with a fraction of the views. That was like, I live in a small city. I was tattooed locally. I have to live in this city for the rest of my days, and I don't want to create a situation that's difficult for me. So obviously I'm not going to expose this tattoo artist. It's all fun and exciting when exposés are put out there on Twitter for all of us to consume. But I want to continue making YouTube videos. I want to continue feeling safe on the subway and at work. And obviously I don't want to make anything hard for my coworkers. If someone was like, oh, that girl, that YouTuber girl who just like exposes people, all I can do is give all of you guys the information on how to pick a good tattoo artist and feel comfortable. So I can give you all of the tools so you'll never end up in that tattoo artist's chair. You know what I mean? But I can't protect you forever. So maybe, you'll get a bad tattoo, as we all have. And you can get a bad tattoo after you get 20 good tattoos in a row. The 21st one might be bad, despite the tools that you know. But I think I never have to say what tattoo artist was rude to me, as long as I teach you guys how to never get involved with a rude tattoo artist. So I'm never going to expose anybody. I'm never going to roast anybody. I just think that it's not it's not shit that I want to put out in the atmosphere. I really think that, like, what is it, the law of attraction? Every couple weeks I like convince myself that that's real, and then I fall off of it. Oh my god, it's 3 o'clock. John's calling. I did not know it was 3 o'clock. I have like 10 minutes to get dressed. But I think the laws of attraction are true. I think when I put out negative content, evil content with the intention of being hurtful, then that shit comes back to me. I want to keep this a positive place where you guys can thrive and you guys can build relationships and you guys can be friends. And you guys can share your art, or you can be inspired. You can share your music. Ryan Little and Nyalor have been 2 giant contributors to the music on this channel, but you guys can always contact me. I've really been looking for like a Philly-based, like hip-hop kind of person so I can meet them. So if you know any of that, if you know like a Philly-based like rapper, like hip-hop, like chill beats, like, I don't know, definitely link me with them. If it's you, let me know. But keeping this channel like a positive atmosphere is great. Earlier in the stream I said like I called Morgan to talk shit, but really we kind of just vent because we're both in really unique professions where only we can understand each other sometimes. And even Morgan is a model, so I don't know what that's like. But in my life, I really don't turn the computer off and just talk shit, and I'm not just like miserable. Like, John comes home and like we laugh and we joke, and like Melina and I just like every day we just try to make each other laugh. And if I can be around Kay and like just be silly and make her like not make this face for like 5 seconds, call my grandma with the best news possible, that's what my life's really like. Obviously having depression puts a fog on all of that, but it's really hard to convey that like I'm not a negative person. And I think it's the bags under my eyes or like my attitude or whatever, but like it's just not true. So I don't know. That's how I feel. That's the life I express. That's the attitude I try to cultivate. And that's exactly how I feel. I hope that helped everybody. Thank you for submitting that question. I got it on Twitter. I thought it was really good. Love Ryan Little. Ryan Little is so chill, and like he comments on every one of my videos. He DMs me like once a week just to like check up on me. He's like, we really have a great like creator relationship, and I listen to his music. I don't just like put it in my videos. Every Monday he comes out with a new song, and I listen to it, and it's the type of music I like. And I've really gotten into like vaporwave music. So good. So I've been putting that in some of my videos too. If you check the description box of my lookbook, it links to an album that you can download for free that's really good. That's what I've been listening to when I'm not listening to Ariana Grande. But I'm going to bring this live stream to a close. I love you guys so much. You can enter the giveaway by going to my previous video and leaving a comment. Also leave the best way to get a hold of you, and I will hit you up. Hit that like button, keep the engagement high on the channel. I will keep you guys in the know after my YouTube meeting, and let me know what content you want to see on this channel. Let me know how you feel about the live show. I want to learn how to integrate videos into the live stream, or like photos. If you are a local Philadelphia creator, do not hesitate to get in contact with me. My schedule is going to open up a lot in July now that I'm not planning a 15-person surprise party. So feeling really grateful and really good. We have New York again on the agenda, so it should be sick. If you're one of my models for one of the upcoming classes, I may have emailed you because all classes have been pushed back 1 week. So look in your emails for that if you are one of those people. And if you are one of my models, thank you for helping me continue my education. You're amazing. I love you guys so much. Have a great day. You know, turn off the phone or walk away from Twitter for the day. Even if it's raining, go outside, have a nice time. Link up with a friend you haven't texted back. I need to do that. And yeah, thank you guys so much for the support. I'm going to try to make this show better every single week. Obviously, the lag is a huge issue, and learning how to integrate photos and stuff is going to be my next course of action. But thank you guys so much. If you have some great, ideas for improvement, hit me up on Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter at QuietCoolKid. I do check my Twitter more often than maybe other sources. If you're a creator in Philly, please hit me up. And I love you guys so much. Hopefully I don't get sick for talking for 3 hours. Told myself not to, but you guys are great. My whole world. And until next week.